The ways of a producer are tough. There are some days where you have no ideas, a big lack of creativity, and this is called beat block. How to overcome, I will tell you after the intro.
Mr. TV.
Overcoming beat block. This is a topic I'd like to talk about today. Stay tuned. This video is brought to you by my sound company,
Soundspremium.
What is a beat block? A beat block is when you don't have ideas anymore. If you have no creativity, no creative output, and if you are not satisfied with the things you are doing during beat making, this is a beat block. And exactly this is the topic I want to talk about today. So what can you do if you have a beat block and it takes a while and it's still going on and you don't know what to do to overcome this beat block? Overcoming a beat block has a short-term solution and a long-term solution. I will start with the short-term solution, and there I can say what could help at the beginning is to change your workflow. Maybe to try different things. For example, if you start with the drums all the time, then do it differently. Don't start with the drums this time and start maybe with a melody. And try to change your workflow, try to change your habits. Because it's like that. If you have found your workflow, then you are stuck. It's going all the time. You are very efficient with your workflow. You're trying all the things and come out with a certain output. But if you change your workflow, the way you work, then you can come up with complete new things, new ideas. So maybe if you start with your drums, this time start with the chopping of a sample or start with the bass. It's not that common, I know, but these ways could lead to creativity again. So this is how you can overcome your beat block and be more productive again. And another thing is that you could maybe change your setup. I'm not telling you to buy new gear. I'm not telling you to buy new gear and stuff like that, because then you are just buying something and you are hoping that you will overcome your beat block just by buying a certain product. But that's not the way things work, because if you got new gear, then you have to get used to it. You have to get to know your machine you are using, maybe a certain synthesizer. That's very difficult and it's not that efficient. So maybe you have an old synthesizer you already own, or something you have forgotten about. Just take out this old stuff, try to be creative with this, focus on the technical part and try to come up with something. And don't judge it immediately. Just put down your ideas you have. Even if you are not satisfied with your idea, just lay down everything, mix the beat, try to focus on being creative, try to focus on doing something. And if you are not satisfied with it, just leave it like it is. Don't delete it. Listen to it another day, another time. Maybe it's just your situation, a mental thing you are in. Maybe you are too much into perfectionism. And when you want to overcome the beat block, perfectionism is exactly the thing that keeps you away from keeping away the beat block. Maybe you got a time-consuming job, a stressful job, and stress is another important factor for a beat block, and you have to release this stress. If you come home after a hard-working day, it's very difficult to force yourself to be creative because your energy is gone and you have to recharge your own energy. And that's exactly the point. Now the second option is to stop making music for a while and to get back energy. Don't focus too much on music. that you do different things, maybe new things, maybe you go out, going outdoor, going back into nature, find your inner peace, maybe you try to meditate. That's a very efficient way to overcome a beat block if you can learn how to distract yourself from stress. Because if you release stress, then you will be more creative, because the most important creativity killer is stress. And especially if you are doing things you don't love, you lose creativity. You have to have a good life-work balance, no work-life balance, because with this kind of balance you put work in the focus again, and that's not what we want. Life has to be the focus, because life is the source for creativity. So you have to change your perspective at first. And if you change your perspective, then all the other things will follow. I know it's sounding a little bit esoteric and spiritual, but music is a thing you can't touch. It's a mental thing. And if you get back to mental health and back to a balance, then you will get more creativity and more creative output. That's for sure. And all my MPC heads out there, you are in a very good position, because you can go outside with your beat making machine to find a new surrounding, and you can get rid of this typical studio environment and start producing in a real environment, a more inspiring environment. And maybe you got the MPC 1, then you can have a battery pack to go outside. With the MPC Live you already have this opportunity to go outside. And why you don't take advantage of this thing, that you can take it away out of a studio, that you can take it with you, and then creativity will take a different flow. And creativity is a flow. It's nothing different, because creativity has no timetable. You can't force yourself to be creative at a certain hour or minute or at a certain point of time. That's not possible. You have to have a surrounding, an environment that is making you more creative. And you have to make way for this surrounding, for this environment. So if you go outside, you will find new inspiration, you will find new ideas. Even if you are doing things that are not musical. Recording with your field recorder to record some samples. And from these samples you can come up with new ideas and new ways of beat production. So just think about that. If you try things like that, I'm very sure that you will have a big advantage. And at the end of the video, I would like to mention a very important point, so that you don't run into consumption, so that you don't run into trouble because you are thinking that your creativity is defined by the gear you have. That's not the case, because you are the most important thing. You are controlling the machines, and the machines are not controlling you. And don't fall into this trap to overcome a beat block by buying new stuff, new equipment. That's not the solution, I'm very sure. I think every producer knows this very good, because I've been to Africa several times, and you know what? People there do big beats. They are so creative with just a little piece of gear. They find good solutions out of minimalism. You can have bad headphones. If you got a burner artist, you can make dope shit. believe me. I've recorded some singles as an artist in Africa, and I can tell you I have been into studios with shitty equipment. The producers there, which I've met, are so good when it comes to production. They are full of creativity. They can do the best. They know their equipment and they can do the best with it. They come up with creativity, with new ideas, without having expensive equipment. And I think that's very important. It's not about the equipment, it's not about the things you buy, it's about you. So of course you have to have tools to produce music, but just focus on the things you have and don't buy stuff all the time. You know, there's this gas thing, gear acquiring syndrome, where you are buying things constantly without really needing them, because then you are in the trap of consumption and you are buying things spontaneously, everything that you see in an advertisement, and you do quick decisions that are not good at all, and they won't get you out of your beat block, because the main tool you have and the most important tool you have is you. That is something you have to keep in mind always, that the gear is not defining you, that the gear is not making you the producer. You are the producer and you are taking care and control of the machines, and you are controlling the machines and not the other way around. Being in nature and seeing the beauty of nature can be very inspiring for your creativity. Then you will see different things that inspire you, and these things are having an influence on your music, of course. So just go out, and if you have musical equipment you can take with you, very good. Go with that. Take advantage of that. If you have an MPC Live, MPC 1, MPC Live 2, and MPC X is too big of course, but do something with all these things you have.